Hi there, this is Art and Such with my Rainbow Loom tutorial for Pinocchio from Shrek. He goes with the rest of my Shrek set. For this pattern, you're going to need some brown bands, some darker and lighter blue bands, white skin tone, gold or yellow for the hat. For the eyes and buttons, I'm going to show you how to do it with beads or with bands. If you're using beads, you will want to have on hand a Sharpie marker. And a little bit of red for the shoes. You'll also want some C-clips. I'll show you how to kind of pose them after. And what else? We'll need a hook and holding hook. I use a small one here. I like my little 2. If you are going to be using beads, I would recommend having some dental floss or thin thread and needle on hand to get the beads onto the bands. And the last thing is your loom in the offset configuration. Okay, so let's start with our legs. And I'll give you a heads up now that the arms and the legs are going to curl just a little bit. So if you are really worried about that, you can make each section a little bit shorter and you might get less of a curl. So first leg, first thing, we're going to take 4 red bands. Put them on the hook, wrap them once and twice. Take a single red, stretch it, twist it, bring it back onto itself so it's doubled over. Slide it through and replace. Take a white, wrap it on the end of the hook. 1, 2, 3 times. Bring the first part of your red shoe piece over the white, but keep it on the hook. This will bring our white piece into the middle, and then we need 1 doubled over single red, just grabbing a band from the side here. They're getting tangled together. Okay, 1 doubled over single red. And we're going to put that through all of the pieces on the loom, but try to keep them in order if you can. So reds go over first, and then whites, and then reds again. It's going to be a little tight here, so I can do this carefully. And then we are going to switch to white, and we're going to have 4 doubled over single whites. So here's the first one. Slide it through. Now again, if you want your legs to be a little bit shorter or a little less bendy, you could have 3 doubled over whites at the bottom and 3 doubled over blues at the top instead of the 4 that I'm going to be doing. So this is the second one. I'll try to keep these as straight as we can as we go. And 3. And 4. From here we're going to switch to skin tone. And we'll do the same thing with the skin tone, but this time it's going to be 7 doubled over singles. So here's 1. 2. I can also mention if your legs are twisting more than you like and at the end you don't want to use C-clips, another alternative is to get some stiff wire and run it through the back of the legs to straighten it out. But I find it doesn't always work so well because your wire will show through in parts. Regardless of how you do it, I always run into that issue when I try to straighten something out using wire. This part got kind of bent, so we're going to try to straighten that out a little before we move on. As I said, it's okay if it's a little bit floppy now. I will show you some things you can do at the end that will make things sit a little bit more neatly together. Okay, we need now blues, lighter blue, and we're going to do 4 doubled over singles. That will be the end of our first leg, and then we can make our second one. Three and 4. Now you can leave this where it is or put it onto a second holding hook, and we'll go on to the next leg. We need 4 red bands wrapped on the hook, once and twice, pulled onto a doubled over single red, take a white, wrap it on the end, and then pull it to the middle. Doubled over single red, and 4 more doubled over single whites. From here we've got our 7 doubled over single skin tones. So that's 5, 6, 7. I'm going to get them just ready on the side here. I'll tell you, I'm actually really excited. I'm getting so close to the end of my Shrek set. I've been working on this almost since I started my station. And after this guy I have, I've got Rumpelstiltskin to do, but most of the other main characters are finished now, and I'm very pleased. I'm happy with how this set has worked out, even though it's taken me quite a long time to figure out the different designs to get them up on my channel. So thank you for your patience, everyone who's made Shrek requests, and I'll try to keep finishing it. Okay, and 4 light blue bands, again doubled over singles. 1, 2, 3, and 4. I think we'll make our arms next. So on Smurl, say you can leave this where it is, or put it onto another holding hook. And for our arms, we're going to take 2 white bands, wrap them together on the hook 1, 2, 3 times. Put that onto 2 white bands. Just checking my pattern here as we go. And this goes on to 8 doubled over single skin tones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. If it makes you feel any better, the arms are one of the last times that we're going to be doing doubling over, except I think the other part we'll see this is a tiny bit for the hat and a little bit for the hair, but this is our the arms are our last long string of doubled over singles. I find the more you do these, the faster it starts to go. So if this is a new process for you, just keep with it and you will get the feel for it. If you're struggling to keep up, of course you can always pause the video or go back. So the beauty of this, it's not live, so you can always go back to check. And last arm, last limb, and then we can go to the loom. So we're going to take those 2 white bands, wrap them on the hook 1, 2, 3 times. Pull onto 2 white bands. Replace. And 8 doubled over single skin tones. Okay, set that to the side. We're going to come to the loom and start at the top where your arrow is. Take a doubled over single skin tone, top center to the second center peg. That's going to be for our neck attachment section. And the next few are going to be white. So we're going to take 2 white bands from the second center to the second side. Repeat for the onto the opposite side. Come down once on each row with double white bands. And I think we'll finish off the sides before we do the middle, because the middle is going to be just a touch more complicated. So the sides will have a total of 4 sets of double white bands, so 2 bands together. We laid the first one down already, so we're going to do another 3 sets on each side, which will take us to the 6th pegs down. I'll do that on the far side as well. Okay, so on our next 3 sets of white, we're going to be adding our buttons. So next we're going to take a single band from the 3rd peg to the 4th peg down in the center and get a hold of a second band. I'm going to show you 2 ways to do this. If you are using a bead, you can put it with a small hole. You can put it on a piece of floss or that needle and thread. Run it through the band, back over, back through, and slide it on. And this can go across those same pegs. If you want to use bands, which is what I'm going to do this time, you will take your yellow or gold band, wrap it on your hook 3 times. If you've got a bead with a larger hole, you can also just stick it onto your hook and then proceed accordingly. Slide that onto the white. So I put my white band on the end and press this over. And that will go onto this same peg I was showing you a minute ago. Don't fall off. Like so. And we're going to repeat this 2 more times. So a single white goes down from the 4th peg to the 5th peg. And then get your bead on, or take your band, wrap your band 3 times if you're using your band, or transfer your bead using the floss, and put that band on top of the first white one with the yellow in the middle. Last time. So that is the shirt. We will add our holding bands in a minute. Let's put our arms on now though, just to make things a little bit easier. Take the first arm, transfer the bands onto the second peg down on the side, on one side, and repeat for the other arm. You can kind of decide which way your arm is turning and place accordingly. I'm going to try it this way, and I might have to flip them around. No, that's good. Okay, so the bottom part of the body is a little bit more complicated, but not terrible. We're going to come down once on each row with double light blue bands. And then we're going to take double light blue bands and come from the 7th center to the 7th side. So it's coming down diagonally. And repeat that going to the other side. And we're going to try to push these down a little in the middle because we will have a bit to loop there. Gotta see if I can figure out my notes here. Gonna take 2 more light blue and stretch them. Let me just leave this out and then I'll explain. Be easier if I can get it on the loom first. Okay, so we came from the 7th peg down in the center to the 8th peg down on the side. So there's no connecting piece between the 7th and 8th pegs on the side. Repeat on the other side. Then from the 7th to the 8th peg down in the middle, take 2 straight down. And 1 more set down the middle, double bands again from the, I think that's the 8th to the 9th peg. And we've almost got this here. We're going to take 2 blue bands, slide your first leg on, and bring that from the, let's see, that is your 8th peg down on the side to the 9th peg down in the center. And we'll repeat that from coming from the opposite side. So 2 blues, put your leg on top, slide it across those same bands, and we're going to put a cap band on the bottom. So take a single blue on that 9th peg down, put the band on the top, twist once, twice, 3 times. You can do it 4 if you want it to be extra tight. Now just a note or a suggestion here. My body part here did come out somewhat narrowly. So what I would suggest, if you want to make it rounder, you can try to put you can try it with extra bands on the side pieces, or adding a chain on the side. I'm just not sure how well that will work, but that's something you can play around with if you want more roundness to the hip area. We're going to put a single blue bond across from your 8th peg down on one side to the 8th peg down on the other side, and over the 8th peg down in the middle. Let me check my picture one more time, and then I think we're ready to put on our holding bands and start looping up. Yeah. Okay, single blue band or white bands over the 6th pegs down. Make a triangle. We're going to use white for the next 3 sets above that. Okay, we can loop up the body, and then we'll start on the hat, head, nose, and all of our detail work. So this is possibly the trickiest part of all. We've got to sort out the bands right here where the legs are. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the legs to the side. I'm going to find the one that's sitting right under the securing knot, the cap band. I'm pulling it down out of the way, and this way it will be easier for me to grab. So now I'm going to reach under the cap band, grab the 2 bands which came from the side. So you saw I just stretched them out and pulled them to the side so they would be easier to get. Now I go back through the cap, and I'm going to bring up the ones that are going to the side closest to me, and they should be the next one up, like the next layer. Finally we go down, grab the bottom 2, bring them forward. From here we can go into the side on the 8th, push back the top bands, the top 4 bands, grab the bottom 2 and bring them back up to the center 8. Repeat that on the other side. And we need to go to the 8th peg down, grab the bottom 2 and loop them forward. I'm listing, I'm naming all of the bands by number. I'm hoping that'll make this easier to follow. We have to reach in and get the 2 that are on the top, and they are going to be going down to the right side. It's 1 and 2. You can turn your loom to the side or pull the bands out with your hook if it helps you to find them. Go back for the next 2, bring them over to the left. It will be a little tight, so take your time, please. Pause if you need to. Loop up the 2 blues from that 7th peg down to the 6th peg down. And we can loop up the side now from the 7th peg down upwards. So go under the top blues, grab your bottom 2 blues and loop them forward. And continue to loop straight up till you get to the arms. So push back and stay inside of the holding bands. Keep the open part of your hook pointed upwards, and up we go. When you get to the arm, you can reach under the arm, find the bottom 2 whites and bring them back to the middle, the center middle. The second center, second middle. Opposite side, let's loop straight up. When you get to the arm, you're going to loop up from under the arms back to the center middle. If you're finding your loom is getting a little tight, you can loosen up some of the parts that you've already looped in the blue section at the bottom here. And we can go back to the 6th peg down in the middle and loop up normally. Grab your 2 whites, pull them forward. Don't worry about the beads right now, that will all come into place. Reach through. On the 2nd peg down, get your doubled over single skin tone, loop that up, and now while you hold on to the top center band and peg and its bands, you can release the rest of Pinocchio's body from the loom. Try to use the back of your hook to do it so that you're not catching the bands in a pulley way, in a bad way. When most of the body is loose, you can put your hook through the bands on the top center peg and pull off. And I'm actually going to turn the body around, so you can use another hook if it's easier. And I'll show you that method, just because what we do is we stick the other hook through from the opposite side. And the reason I suggest this is because now your buttons are going to be on the correct side without any need to push them through, and the unsightly knot will now be at the back. Okay, so let's put the body aside for the moment. We will do some finishing touches on it a little later, but for now we are ready to move on to the head. Okay, our hat is going to start with some gold. If you don't have gold, you can use yellow, but the gold looks really nice. And I'm going to put a single band from the top center to the 2nd center. And then I'm going to put 3 or 4 bands on the next piece. I only used 2 originally, and I felt like it was a little too thin. If you're happy with this amount of thickness, then for sure keep it at 2. As I said, I want mine to be just a little thicker. And then we're going to, lost my picture there. We're going to take 2 bands from the 3rd center peg down to the 4th side peg. And repeat that on the other side. So it's going to stretch down again diagonally. It looks a little funny, but this gives us more of a triangular feel. 2 bands from the 3rd center peg to the 4th center peg. And then we're going to take 2 from the 4th center to the 4th side. and 2 from the 4th center to the 4th on the other side, which in my case is the one closest to me. Switch to skin tone, come down 3 times in a row with double bands down the middle, starting at the 4th peg down. And then we're going to do 2 times down on either side with double bands, starting at the 4th peg down again. Oh, I put 4 by accident. Only needed 3 sets there. 2 skin tone bands coming in from the 6th side to the 7th center, closing up the face area. Same on the opposite side. We're going to make the nose next, and the really fun thing about this is you can make your nose any length you like. You can have it really short or really long, but once more bear in mind, the longer it is, the more it's going to curve. So at some point it is going to start rolling around. You can have a really short nose, but because he's Pinocchio, we want a little bit of dimension on that. For the nose we take, and I didn't even write this down, so we'll figure it out. Single skin tone, wrap it 1, 2, 3 times on the hook. Let me do a quick count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like I did about 5 doubled over singles. So we'll start with that and see how we like it. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You can see it's already starting to curl, but it's not terrible. And we're going to put this on a single skin tone. Stretch it across. I believe it's your 6 pegs down on the side. I'll have a quick look to double check that for you. So it should be right above the chin. And we're going to pull it up over the chin. And then you can use your hook or your finger to separate it out and pull it over the 6th peg down in the center. For the side extensions to the hat, I'll show you how to make that. And again, these do curl a little, but we can adjust that after. I'm actually going to fix mine up a tiny bit more right now. Give me 1 second. Just so you can see how nice it can be. Here we are. Okay, and we've got a single gold on the hook, wrapped 1, 2, 3 times, pulled onto 1, 2, 3 doubled over singles. 1, 2, and 3. We're going to transfer the bands from the hook onto the 4th peg down on the side. And we'll do the same for the other side. Single wrapped 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 doubled over singles, so there's 1. 2 and 3, and then we will go to the eyes. And I'm just wondering, if I've got a couple of eyes that are ready here already. Maybe I do. This will do. Got to find in my pair. I was going to use some new beads, but I think if I've got one ready, I will just use that. And as I said, I can show you also how to do this with bands. So I'll show you the band version first, and then I'll put on my beads, and you can see how that is. If you're using bands, you can pick the color you'd like. I would go with the blue probably, Wrap 1, 2, 3 times. And there are a couple of ways you can do this. I'll show you a couple of ways. 1, 2, 3 times. Pull them both onto a single skin tone. Keep a little space in between and bring those across your 5th pegs down from one side to the other. Okay, so this is the first method, and then you would put your hook in between and bring the band, the skin tone band, over the 5th peg, 5th peg down in the center. That's with straight blue bands. Second method, wrap your blues 3 times. Take a white, wrap it on one side once, the other side once. Repeat with the other eye. Maybe we'll do this super quick and then I'll show you the beads. So you can see what some of your choices are here. Transfer onto skin tone, but you do have to try to keep them in order and bring them across the same way. This way you'll get the pupils. It's a little more detail, but as I say, it can be tricky to keep the colors in order. And again, you would bring the band, skin tone band, over the center 5th. Last method, which I think looks the nicest, but of course it depends on whether you've got beads available. I'm going to make it with a couple of beads, and the ones I have already have pupils drawn on with a Sharpie. This one's got a little extra color on it. Maybe this one. Okay. So if you would like to use beads and their holes are too small to get onto your hook, then we'll do the same thing I showed you with the buttons. Run a piece of floss through both of the eyes. As I said, I just picked these ones that I have eyes drawn on already, but to make the eyes, all you would do is take a permanent marker and dot them on, draw them on, put them onto the skin tone. So floss goes through the skin tone. I'm having such a clumsy day here. And it's going to go back over, back through the eyes, the beads from the opposite direction. And pinch it on the other side. If your beads do have larger holes, you can just stick them onto your hook and transfer them on the way you would with your wrapped bands. So whatever kind of eye that you did ultimately decide to make, we're going to place it across from the 5th peg down to the 5th peg down. Separate. Use your hook to pull one side of the skin tone band, one part of it, up over that 5th piece. And thank you for your patience. I know that was a long explanation, but as I said, I know you're coming from different backgrounds, different levels, different Rainbow Loom experience. So hopefully one of these works well for you. Figure that out after. We can add our body on. Actually, let me turn this way. That might be easier for me. There. We're going to add the body on in 1 second, and it's going to go onto the 6th, 7th peg down, the middle. Just trying to get my already drawn on pupils to show up more easily. Okay, body face up, transfer the bands that are on your hook onto the 7th peg down in the center, and we are ready to loop up the face. Okay. So reach under the body, you can pull it down a little if it's in your way. Take the next 2 bands and bring them up to the side closest to you. In my case it's the left here. Bring the next 2 up to the right, loop forward over the nose, reach under the nose, behind the nose, loop forward again, and loop forward one more time, but push back the band that's holding the eyes. We're going to loop up on the sides, starting at the 6 pegs down, looping up once and twice. And when you loop the skin tone over the fourth peg, try to loop it over the hat extension, so over that gold piece. You're going to loop up the other side once and twice over the gold. And then we're going to go to the fourth peg down on the side. Find the two gold which are coming diagonally from the center. Get under, this is a little tricky, isn't it? Get under the hat extension and under the skin tone bands and grab the two bands that came from the middle, and we're going to bring them back to there. So that's one, and I need to get one more. That's trapped. Where did it go? Hold on. Pull these out to the side. Oh, there it is. Side again so I can see it better, I was going to say, but now it's revealed itself anyway. Other side, go under the hat extension and get the next two bands and bring them back to the middle. Go back to the fourth peg down on the side, get your bottom two golds, bring them up to the third peg down in the middle. Repeat on the other side. Fourth peg down in the center, push back everything but the bottom two and bring those up forward. We're almost done this part here. Loop up your four and loop up onto the top center peg. That's the band you have to hold on to as we carefully take the rest of your guy off of the loom. Be especially careful around the start of the hat and the neck, because that's where we've got a lot of our bands. Carefully put your hook through the band on the top center peg and remove Pinocchio from your loom. Turn it to the front, push your nose and your eyes through and into place. Now I'll show you this with the other hook again for your ease. I'm going to come back through the back to the front through that top band, so that it's turned around. We're going to take the band, the side of the band furthest from the end of the hook and pull it over the end of the hook. And then we can put this holding band, securing band onto a C-clip and tuck that in on the back. So we'll stick that to another piece on the back of the hat here. So you can see the hat is curling up, the nose is curling about, the arms are curling everywhere. We're going to do the suspenders and the hair, and then I will try to hopefully be able to help you out with getting the pieces to sit where we want. So for the suspenders, we're going to stitch this in. Grab a blue band, go to the back, and we're going to reach through just under where the white shirt starts. So I've gone into the middle of my first blue set, light blue set. I'm going to pull my dark blue band back through, and then I'm going to reach through from the back to the front a couple of places up, one or two places up, into one of my white shirt pieces, and I grab the other side of the blue and pull it to the back. Put one side over the other, get another blue band handy, and now I'm going to reach up from a little bit higher, so I'm going to reach through this time, and you can kind of feel your way to where it looks right, but I'm going to go next to the arm inside another set of white, right in the middle of it, put my blue band on, keep a little tension, pull it to the back and through the band that I had on my hook. Go back down to where we started there, where we finished the last one. Put the other side of your blue on, and you can use C-clips or hooks in between if you're nervous about it getting loose. Pull it back through the piece that's there, and last time for this side I'm going to go through right by the neck, maybe just through one neck piece here, Take a blue, pull it through, reach down to where the last set ended, grab the new piece, pull it through, put it on the C-clip, sorry, put it through the first piece and then put it on a C-clip. And we'll do this for the other side as well. So get probably about 3 or 4 darker blue bands. Have those ready. I'm going to pull mine out in advance here. Going to go through to the back, starting right under where the shirt starts. Pull a blue band, dark blue band through to the back. Reach up through a couple of links of the white. So coming from the back to the front, back through the white. Grab my front blue, pull it back to the back and under the blue that's on my hook. Reach through again, maybe around close to the arm is good. Put your dark blue band on. I'm really having a hard time trying to get this angled for the camera. Okay, pull it back through and through the piece on your hook. Go back through the same place your last segment ended. I've turned them upside down here so I can access it better. Pull through, put it back on your hook, and there are some parts of the suspenders you might find yourself doing a couple of times till it's sitting in the right place where you're happy with it, and that's okay. Sometimes it takes a little fiddling. Go back through right over by the shoulder. This will probably be our last one. Pull the blue on and through to the back. Reach back where your last set was. This is the back you're looking at. And then in the front we're going to grab that blue again, pull it through, and we can use the same C-clip we have the other side on. Okay, so those are your suspenders. Move this to the side. Let's do our hair next. So that's with brown. And here we do have to do a little more doubled over, a couple more doubled over bands, but not too many. In fact, we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 all together. Take a single, wrap it 1, 2, 3 times, put it onto a doubled over single, and we will need a total of 6 of these. So that was 1, single, 1, 2, 3, onto a doubled over single, that's 2. That's 3. 4. 5. And 6. And then take a single brown band, or 2 if you want it to be extra secure. Slide it through all the pieces on your hook. Keep a good hold on the end there. Now again, if you want, you can put one part of this onto a hook or a C-clip if you're worried about it slipping. What we're going to do is attach it around the head basically. So place it above the eyes. We're going to go to the back, go under a nearby band, and bring your brown band over the band you put it through and over the end of the hook. So we just slid one of these skin tone bands under the brown. Then I'm going to reach around, go under the skin tone brown on the other side. Try to turn this so you can see it from the other side. Put the brown on top, and I'll bring the skin tone over this time. And then we need to put this onto, so one under the other, and then we'll put this onto a C-clip, and we happen to have a C-clip here already from the crown, so it can. So if you want your arms to sit a little closer to the body, what we can do for that is turn your guide to the back, go under a piece on the side, grab a piece of your arm, or the hand rather, pull it under, and we can weave it across. So I'm going to go under a band and bring the further one over the top of the hook, go under another nearby band, bring my further band over and over the top of the hook, go through one of the light blues on the side, over, and then grab a little loop out of the other hand. And I'm going to bring that blue piece over the white piece and over the end of the hook. And that can go onto a C-clip. We'll stick that under a nearby band. So that is secure. For the hat, you can see it's still flopping up a little bit. I did one set already here, but I'll show you for the other. What you can do is go to the back of the head, go under a skin tone, a hair tone, one of that securing band for the hair, grab a piece of the gold hat, pull it under the other two, and put it on a C-clip. And you might have to add another C-clip, or you might be able to reach one that's already there on the back. To stretch over. There we go. And for the legs, as I said, you can use a wire, a pipe cleaner, a paper clip, and run it through the back, but I do find that starts to show up a little bit. Another thing you can do is turn to the back and weave the legs together. So here we are at the back of the legs. I've evened them out. And what I can do is grab a piece from one leg, grab a piece from the other leg, the same spot, slide one under the other. You can weave your way down like that, or do that in more than one place, put it on a C-clip. I've got a loose band here, so I kind of want to tug that in while I'm at this. That's better. And I'll go a couple more times, so I'm going to go under a piece just a little lower, bring the first piece over, go through the other leg, try to line it up, first piece over. You can keep going all the way or just part way. Just to show you what it looks like, I will go further down. So I'll go through a white piece of the stocking and then stretch it across to the other side. Oh, it didn't go through all the way. So it goes under the skin tone, and then through a white piece on the opposite leg. And you can put this on a C-clip, or you could actually, if you get close enough, bring it right over the leg, right over the foot. So he's upside down right now. You're looking at the feet are on the top now. But if you get far enough down, you can bring that band right over the leg. And there you go. It'll set them a little closer together. Another thing you can do is you can put a book over him for a little bit and heavy object, get it to weigh him down a little more into the shape that you like. So let me lay these out for you. There's Pinocchio. I'll add him to my Shrek playlist as soon as I can. And I thank you for watching.